Hello, dear friends and subscribers. Welcome back to your favorite cricket show, the Cricket Happening Show. And on this Cricket Happening Show, we have three matches to cover today. So, I won't be going into the nitty gritty of it, but definitely I'll be giving you a match summary in all the three matches. So, the three matches that you're going to hear from me today is going to be the second day's play in the match between West Indies and Zimbabwe. As I said, the ball was turning right from the first day. Zimbabweans are the ones who are going to be batting last on this pitch. And today, West Indies took a 60-run lead with Devendra Bishoo, the right-arm leg spinner, really skiting through the Zimbabwe lineup when Zimbabwe collapsed from 91 for 1 to be all out for 159, thus giving a 60 runs lead to West Indies. And West Indies won the box seat, one could say, because they were 88 for 1 at close of play. That essentially meant they were 148 odd runs ahead in the first innings. And also, let's keep everything in mind that Zimbabwe are the ones who will be batting last on this particular pitch. As far as the first ODI between New Zealand and India was concerned, well, I would say New Zealand started off on the right note here. They put everything on the back burner as to what happened in the previous exchanges that they had, and one has to really credit New Zealand for doing this. Even though India, there was some disciplined bowling from the Kiwi bowlers at the start of the match with basically Trent Bolt and Santner doing a fine job, and India with thanks to a 31st ODI century by Virat Kohli in his 200th ODI, reached 280 for 8. But Tom Latham, it was an experimentation which was done, which proved to be amply successful, as Tom Latham, who came in at number 5, came in and made a century. He was not 103. Ross Taylor came close to making a century, and that was it. The Indians were wiped out in the first one day by New Zealand by 6 wickets. And the third ODI between Bangladesh and South Africa, where Bangladesh probably would have at least thought about salvaging something, was absolutely washed away, as South Africa amassed 369 for 6 batting first, with 91 from Du Plessis. Du Plessis retiring hurt because of an issue that he had with his back, and he will be out of the T20 series versus Bangladesh. And the Bangladesh were sitting ducks for South Africa, as they were all out for 169. South Africa winning by a very big margin of 200 runs to make a clean sweep of the series against Bangladesh 3-0. But first, I'm going to start off with the game between West Indies and Zimbabwe. So, talking about Zimbabwe, as I said, Zimbabwe, they started on the overnight score, and today we saw that Solomon Maar, who was in a punitive mood yesterday evening, could not continue in the same manner, as the breakthrough came from Kemar Roche. Kemar Roche actually picking up Solomon Maar really was a bit sort of a fiddling at the crease today, and he was not able to time the ball properly. Solomon Maar was the first wicket to go when Kemar Roche provided the breakthrough by getting rid of Solomon Maar for 27 with 4 boundaries and 1 6. The next wicket to go was Hamilton Masakadza. Hamilton Masakadza, in contrast to what he did yesterday, he did not open his account, played with lots of responsibility, playing for tomorrow. But today we saw real positive stuff coming in from Hamilton Masakadza as he stroked the ball beautifully. But then Devendra Bishoo was the one who had Hamilton Masakadza's wicket, as he had him caught by Dowrich for 42 with 4 fours and 1 6. Craig Irvine came in, and that was the time when the problem started for Zimbabweans. So 91 for one stage, and with that wicket which was taken by Bishoo, it really triggered off a real wave of wickets. Craig Irvine was the one who was standing there at one end and defying the West Indian bowlers. But then it started. Brendan Taylor on his comeback failed, trying to sweep a delivery, was caught by Blackwood. I think he tried a reverse sweeper delivery from the bowling of Bishoo, and he was caught by Blackwood for one of the edge. Sean Williams was the next victim, caught behind by Dowrich behind the wicket to the bowling of Roche for 7. Sikandar Raja was a victim of the bowling of Bishoo for 6, attempting a big shot, I would say. Malcolm Waller lost his stumps to Holder. That was a very good delivery. The ball hooped in from outside the off stump and went through the defensive poke of Malcolm Waller. It was gone for 11 with no boundaries. Chakabwa was a victim of the bowling of Bishoo for 12 with 1-6. Creamer lost his stumps to Holder for naught. Pofu was caught behind the bowling Gabriel, thus bringing an end to the match, and Craig Irvine himself was LBW ball Bishoo for 39 with 5 fours. Jarvis was not out on 2, and it was collapsed from 91 for 1. Zimbabwe losing 9 wickets for 68 runs to be all out for 159, and handing over a lead on a platter to the West Indies of 60 runs. And Gabriel, 11 overs, 0.3 overs, 4 maidens, 1 for 24. Jason Holder, 14 overs, 5 maidens, 2 for 25. Bishoo had his third 5-wicket haul of his test career. 24 overs, 4 maidens, 79 runs on 5 wickets. And he was always a threat after seeing the ball turn on the first day itself. Roston Chase, I'm just shuddering to think as to when Zimbabwe get the target, what Devendra Bishoo would do. I'm really thinking that Devendra Bishoo can really bamboozle them when Zimbabwe bat last. So and already Zimbabwe are under pressure in this particular match. Chase 1 for 6 and Kemar Rose bowled his stuff very well. 11 overs 5 minutes 2 for 23. Now the West Indies batted, so the 60 runs lead was very handy as Brathwaite and Kieron Powell walked into bat. But Kieron Powell, after making 17, was clean bowled by Creamer for 17 with 1-4 and 1-6. And finally, when stumps were drawn for the day on the second day, Brathwaite was not out on a compact 38 with 1-4 and 1-6. Kyle Hope was not out on 32 with 4 boundaries. West Indies closing the day at 88 for 1 with the 60 runs lead. Their score had advanced to 148 runs with 9 wickets remaining. And the owners will be on Zimbabwe tomorrow morning to get some quick West Indies wickets lest this match is really running away from Zimbabwe, because as I said, the ball is going to do, I think the ball is going to turn square probably towards the end of this particular match, and Zimbabweans are the ones, let's remember, that would be caught on this last day track. Jarvis 5 overs, 1 maiden, none for 6. Pofu 3 overs, 1 maiden, none for 12. Williams 10 overs, 2 maidens, none for 19. Creamer 9 overs, 1 maiden, 1 for 36 was the only wicket taker. Sikandar Raja 6 overs, 1 maiden, none for 14. So that is as far as that particular match is concerned between Zimbabwe and West Indies. So the owners definitely on Zimbabwe here, and West Indies definitely, I would say, really on the box seat right now with 148 runs ahead with 9 wickets remaining. Now, the next match that we are going to look at is the first ODI between New Zealand and India. It was played at the Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai. It was a full house, being a public holiday, and I can say that India won the toss, and Virat Kohli immediately elected to bat. And then we started. Trent Bolt was the one who was bowling. Tim Southee was a bit costly, but Trent Bolt was absolutely on the money. And one knew that Rohit Sharma is a bunny rabbit for Trent Bolt. Even though Rohit Sharma cracked a few boundaries, hit 2 sixes, and Shikhar Dhawan was the first to be sent back to the pavilion. Okay, let's because due to shortage of time, I have to just say that India, I would say there's some disciplined bowling from the New Zealand bowlers, especially Trent Bolt. 10 overs, 1 maiden, 35 runs and 4 wickets. And he also got the important wicket of Rohit Sharma. As I said, Rohit Sharma definitely has a fallibility to a left-arm pace bowler who actually gets the ball in. And today, Rohit Sharma's timber was disturbed by Trent Bolt for 20 of 18 deliveries with 2 sixes. Tim Southee was a bit costly, 10 overs, 3 for 73. In fact, India had to, there were 2 bowlers who really stood out. One was Trent Bolt with not only bowling economically but also picking up the wickets at regular intervals, 4 for 35. Mitchell Santner, the spinner, bowled 10 overs for 41, bowled with a lot of economy, 1 for 41, but they were the ones who actually kept the Indians quiet. But other than that, India had to look at other avenues to get runs, and they were really kept on a tight leash, I thought, by the New Zealand bowlers. The New Zealand bowlers bowled a very disciplined line. I thought, with Adam Min 9 overs, none for 62. So India definitely were looking at the other bowlers to target, and that's what they precisely did. Saudi went for 73. Adam Min leagued 62 of his 9 overs. Colin Degan from 4 overs, none for 27. Colin Munro bowled 7 overs, his offies, none for 38. Now looking at the Indian card here, as I said, they lost Rohit Sharma for 20, and Rohit Sharma definitely needs to get over this big hurdle of negotiating the in-swingers or the in-dippers of the left-arm pace bowlers. Dhawan was out to the bowling of Bolt for 9. Virat Kohli stood there like a rock. Jadhav actually chipped and catch back to Santner for 12 with 1 of 25 deliveries with 1-4. Dinesh Karthik gave some good company which was needed to Virat Kohli by hitting a few good boundaries, as his contribution was 37 4 boundaries. So India deciding to actually go with Dinesh Karthik dropping Manish Pandey, which probably would have raised a few things here. But nevertheless, Karthik still contributed 37, and then he mistook the bouncer from the bowling of Tim Southee, and Colin Munro was into business taking the catch. He was gone for 37. Dhoni, definitely could not really force the pace, and he succumbed for 25 to the bowling of Bolt, who came for his second spell. 25, 42 deliveries, 2 fours. Hardik Pandya hit 1 4 and 1 6 in a sweet little knock of 16 of as many balls. Hardik Pandya falling a victim to Bolt. And then Virat Kohli was there, but the Virat Kohli was the constant force there, and he was standing there like a colossus, I would say, what one saw from the New Zealand bowling today was there was a sort of a ploy to control Virat Kohli. As you know, Virat Kohli likes to play the flick shot, so they actually really plugged that gap. They also plugged the other gap on the offside as well, and Virat Kohli definitely saw that he was not getting the boundaries, and he had to definitely find a way out, and the master he is, that's what he did. He realized that it's not easy to hit boundaries with New Zealand having a very packed field, and Virat Kohli decided to change his style of play as he started getting in the singles and started putting pressure on them, but it was going on well, and Virat Kohli was along with Bhuvaneshwar Kumar. Now at 238 for 6 in the 46th over, it was still a long way to go. But Virat Kohli suddenly started opening up in the company of Bhuvaneshwar Kumar. And Bhuvaneshwar Kumar gave a very good support to his skipper by slamming 26 of just 15 balls, which contained 2 4s and 2 6s, and then becoming a victim of the bowling of Tim Southee. But it was a very breezy partnership, I thought, because which took the score to 270. So 32 runs were added in 3 overs. There was some real biffing going on. Virat Kohli also opened up, and Virat Kohli reached his 31st century in his 200th ODI. His contribution being 121 of 125 deliveries, 9 4s and 2 6s. Bhuvaneshwar Kumar 26 of 15. Kuldeep Yadav was not out or not, and India ending on 280 for 8. I thought India definitely recovered well thanks to Virat Kohli to 280 for 8. Now New Zealand were given a target of 281 to win from their 50 overs. Let's see what happened. So Martin Guptill and Colin Munro opened the innings, so it was good to see there was a new opening pair at the crease, and Colin Munro, one knew what was the reason that he was actually promoted in the batting order, and that was to really give some sort of zing to the New Zealand innings at the top of the order in the absence of the retired Brendan McCullum. And Munro definitely showed that by walking down and trying to spank a few. He did spank a few for boundaries. He also hit a very, very good 6 as well of the bowling. I thought it was Bhuvaneshwar Kumar who was hit for a 6. Martin Guptill tried to stay there, but he also hit a few good boundaries as well, as the opening partnership added 48 runs for the first wicket before Jasprit Bumrah. As you know, he has his ability to actually go wide of the crease and slowly angle the ball in, and that's what he precisely did. And this was one of the slower deliveries which actually foxed Munro into a false stroke, and Munro was gone. Karthik bowled Bumrah for 28 of 35 deliveries, 3 4s and 1 6. Kane Williamson was dismissed very cheaply, as Kuldeep Yadav actually beat him with a wrong one, and Jadhav taking the catch as Williamson chipped the catch to Jadhav. He was gone for 6. So that made it 62 for 2. And then Hardik Pandya getting the better of Martin Guptill. Caught Karthik bowled Pandya for 32. 48 deliveries, 5 fours, and that made the score 80 for 3. And suddenly there were a bit of an alarm bells ringing there with 3 wickets of the Kiwis into the pavilion for just 80 runs in the 18th over. But they had 2, and this was the time the experiment was done. Ross Taylor, the experienced bloke, was at the crease, and he was joined in by Tom Latham. And what a wonderful, I would say, wonderful ploy that was to send Tom Latham down the order, and it really worked wonders, I say, because the reason I say that is because from 80 for 3, where India would have definitely tried to really keep the initiative going, really struggled as Tom Latham started playing the spinners with absolute confidence. The wrist spinners, Yuzvendra Chahal and Kuldeep Yadav. At the other end, even Ross Taylor was also showing his experience of staying at the crease and also hitting a few good boundaries, driving very well. And suddenly this particular innings from New Zealand gained momentum in such an extent that 200 runs were added between this pair of Ross Taylor and Tom Latham, with Ross Taylor's contribution being 95, 8 fours. And just when they needed only 4 runs for victory, Kumar actually nipped up the wicket of Ross Taylor for 95. Tom Latham went on to a century. So the experimentation of getting Tom Latham lower down the order working for the New Zealanders, not out on 103, 8 fours and 2 sixes, and he definitely seems to have a real liking for the Indian bowling attack, especially the spinners. Henry Nicholls was not out on 4, 284 for 4. Game over. New Zealand actually winning the first one-day international very comfortably by 6 wickets. As far as the bowling is concerned, Bhuvneshwar Kumar 10 overs, no maiden, 1 for 56. Jasprit Bumrah 9 overs, 1 for 56. Kuldeep Yadav 10 overs, 1 maiden, 1 for 6, no maiden, 1 for 64. Hardik Pandya bowled 10 overs, 1 for 46. There was a bit of discipline there. Yuzvendra Chahal 10 overs, 1 for 51. Look at that. It's not a single maiden over bowled by the Indian bowlers, and that really tells you how well New Zealand batted. Tom Latham was declared man of the match. So that is as far as the one-day international. So New Zealand have definitely started on a very right note in this ODI series. So the Indians are the ones who are to be under pressure now. Now let's have a look at the other match, third ODI, where South Africa made a clean sweep of the ODI series 3-0. South Africa batting first, had a new batting opening partner for Quinton de Kock today, and it was Tenda Bavuma. But Tenda Bavuma, right from the word, the way he got a juicy ball which was sitting up for him and beautifully crashed it through the point region for a magnificent boundary to start matters. Bavuma played a bit in a sedate fashion. He contributed 48 or 47 deliveries, 5 fours. Quinton de Kock was in his element today, contributing 73 of 68 deliveries, 9 fours and 1 6. And Mehdi Hasan Miraj for the first time took a few wickets in this particular series. Du Plessis' contribution was 91, but very unfortunately with the lower back he had to retire hurt and would be out of the T20 series against Bangladesh. 91 was scored of just 67 deliveries, 10 fours and 1 6 on a very perfect batting track. Aidan Markram made his ODI debut today and definitely shown that he can adapt himself to the one-day version 2 pretty quickly, as he came down the wicket and hammered Mehdi Hasan Miraj into the stands for a mighty 6, as Adam Markram was run out for 66 of 60 deliveries, 4 fours and 2 sixes. De Villiers contributed 20 of 15, 1 4, 1 6. Behadin was not on 33 of 24 balls, 4 fours. Mulder making his debut today. It was LBW ball Taskin Ahmed for 2. Philip Wai went for Taskin for 5. Rabada was not out on. Rabada slammed an unbeaten 23 of 11 deliveries, 3 fours and 1 6. And South Africa ending the score on 369 for 6. The bowling for the Bangladeshis never made any happy reading. Mushtaq Murtaza 9 overs was crashed for 69. Mehdi Hasan Miraj 10 overs 2 for 59. Please would be happy with the wickets column there. Ribbles in 10 overs 1 for 75 did bowl in a very erratic manner. Shakib Al Hasan 10 overs 1 for 56. Taskin Ahmed 7 overs no made 2 for 66 was very costly. Namath 3 overs was absolutely clubbed for 33 runs. Sabir Rahman bowling 1 over 8 runs. So one knew that was definitely going to be a tough ask for the Bangladeshis, but it was only a matter of seeing whether Bangladeshis could make a real fist of it. They hardly made a fist of it, with Bangladesh being bowled out for 169. If you look at the card, Shakib Al Hassan was the one who was the highest score, with 63 of 82 deliveries, 8-4. Sabir Rahman contributing 39 of 49, the next highest scorer with 6 boundaries. 15 coming from Mehdi Hasan Miraz and Mustafa Murtaza making 17, and these were the only ones who actually reached double figures. Other than that, Imrul Kayes was out for 1, Soumya Sarkar for 8, Liton Das for 6, Mushfiqur Rahim for 8, Mahmudullah for 2, and 2 Zaskin Ahmed. Game over, 169 all out. The Bangladeshis proved no match for South Africa today. Rabad Aido was 1 maiden, 1 for 33. Patterson, I thought, bowled very well, picking wickets at the top. When he picked up Imrul Kayes, wicket chipped into mid-off. Liton Das was LBW. Soumya Sarkar slashed the ball into the slip region. He was gone. But Ian Patterson, 344. Mulder, it was good to see Mulder into action today. And I thought after seeing Mulder, the youngster of whom Otis Gibson has a lot of hopes here as far as the young talent is concerned, I thought Mulder was absolutely fantastic. In the sense, basically what one saw is an youngster, and he has a nice run up to the wicket, has a nice smooth bowling action, gets the ball to dip into the batsman beautifully, and he was also rewarded today as he also got his maiden ODI scalp in the form of Mahmudullah, who actually lost his, was LBW bowl Mulder. Mulder there, 1 for 32 his returns. Philip Wire, 4 overs 101 for 13, bowled decently. Imran Tahir did his job perfectly, 8.4 overs 127. Markram, 3 overs no made in 2 for 18. So 3-0 clean sweep by South Africa in this series, totally dominating, and I'm told that in this 3-match ODI series the Bangladeshis conceded 1,000 runs. So definitely it's a sort of a record there. Player of the match went to Faf du Plessis. Player of the series being taken by Quinton de Kock. And on a very, very slight note, I have to say I can't do the preview, but I can tell you that tomorrow we have the final ODI coming up between South Africa, between Pakistan and Sri Lanka, and the final ODI. It is a matter of to see whether Sri Lanka can stave off Pakistan from actually making a clean sweep of the series 5-0 in the United Arab Emirates. Thanks for keeping company on this daily cricket show of mine, dear friends and subscribers. Hope to see you all tomorrow on my next cricket broadcast. Until then, this is your host Ram signing off. Thank you.